Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. Now this is where it all began, the Assassin's Creed franchise. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the very first game, the Assassin's Creed, which came out way back in 2007. I know it's been quite some time, and in case you're wondering why am I talking about it in 2022, well, there are a few reasons which I will go through as I move into this video. Now, just a few fun facts before we start this particular video. Now, this is the first game in the franchise. This is where it all began. Now, originally when the team at Ubisoft was working on this game, they actually wanted to make a sequel for the Prince of Persia. But what was happening in the world was there was now a lot of processing power which people could access. Computers were getting better, the processing power was getting better way back in 2007. And what the team at Ubisoft wanted to do was give more to the people. So what they did was took the same template, you could say, of Prince of Persia, but Prince of Persia had this linear world. What this new computational power or this new processing power meant was now you could take all of those concepts and put it into this open world and put in more larger spaces. You can put in more assets, you can put in more crowds, and that's exactly what you had with the Assassin's Creed, this game that you see on screen. And it was influenced obviously by Persian assassins, because the word assassin is taken from Hashashin, which means a Persian assassin, and in fact they were even influenced heavily from a novel called Alamat. Now it definitely set up this great franchise which I'm a big fan of, and I have played these games over and over again, especially the recent ones. I'm a big fan of Origins and Odyssey. Valhalla not so much, but I especially love Odyssey and Cassandra. Now this game, very interesting, and the reason why I'm comparing this with the versions on PC and Xbox Series S, just to show you how a $300 console actually compares to a PC, which is far more expensive even today in 2022. Now in this particular scene, let's start off with this. All right, you see a lot more depth of field, a lot more blur in the background, and that's on the Xbox Series S, by the way. On the PC version, not so much. I'm going to talk about that background blur and why it works in places like this, why it doesn't work in other places, especially scenic landscapes, in a short bit. But again, the point here is to make this comparison, and don't mean to sound like a broken record, but hey, here's a $300 machine compared to laptops which would give you this performance at say about $1,600 to $2,000. So does this mean that you're getting 5 to 6 times the performance on the PC? First of all, the PC that I'm playing on, just to give you some context, I'm playing this on my Asus ROG Strix G15, the Advantage Edition. It's an all AMD machine. So I've basically got the Ryzen 9 5900 HS, and I've even got a 12 GB graphic card, which is the RX 6800. And this game was comfortably running at say about 110 to 120 FPS. All my settings were cranked up really high. The graphic quality, the texture quality, everything was super high. And apart from that, I was even running this game on 4K on my machine. And while I was running that, and while I was playing this back to back on my television, I could obviously make out the difference switching between the Xbox Series S and the PC, and that difference was mainly in the textures. The textures really popped on the PC version of it. Now, does that mean the Xbox Series S version is all that bad? Well, not really. Not really. Oh, by the way, I know I'm 4 minutes into this video already, but I will request you to watch this video on a big screen, because if you're trying to watch this on a mobile or on a tablet, you won't really find a lot of differences between the two versions, the Series S and the PC, and you won't be able to make out that difference in those textures. So please do watch it on a bigger screen. Now, speaking of the textures, everything looks so much sharper, from the fabric, the clothing, to the bookshelf, to the texture of the wood, even the floor. There's a lot more detail, especially if you're looking at it on a big screen. But is it that bad on the Xbox Series S? I don't think so. Given the fact that it's just a $300 machine, again, I'm looking at it from a price to value ratio. And for anybody who wants to do serious gaming, and I'm not just talking about, casual gaming, I'm talking about serious gaming here. I think the Xbox Series S does a fantastic job if you really are out in the market to buy your first console. This is a great option. I mean, the Xbox Series S definitely is a great option because, hey, look at the pricing, first of all. Secondly, this game also received the FPS Boost on the Xbox consoles. So both the X and the S got an FPS Boost with which you would now be able to experience this game at a solid 60 FPS on the Xbox Series S. I mean, it looks brilliant on the Xbox Series S. In fact, even if I slow the footage down to half the speed, in terms of motion, in terms of performance, it's absolutely mind-boggling that a console which is this cheap is giving you this performance. Now, obviously, when it comes to texture, it can't beat the PC. Even if you take a look at this particular screen, this scene here, take a special notice of the grass on the surface. There's a lot more on the PC version of it. But apart from the grass, apart from that, texture of the grass and even the quantity of the grass on the ground, everything else, the number of assets, the number of NPCs on screen, the trees, etc., all of that is the same. The amount of fog on screen, to the even those particles floating in the air, to the dust particles, which are a direct result of you walking across, everything is the same. So it's incredible that the Xbox Series S was doing such a great job. In fact, I was really, really surprised. And please note that I was playing this on 4K television at 4K resolution on my PC, and I was switching over to the Xbox Series S, and I was doing this back to back so that I kind of record the same scene with almost, I wouldn't say precision, but it kind of gives you an idea if you play both the scenes side by side. So it takes a lot of effort, guys. It does take a lot of effort to kind of match the frames and to make it look like the characters going through the same scene on both the consoles. So I would definitely appreciate a like and a subscribe if you like this content. If you appreciate it, then it'd be great if you could hit that like and subscribe button. So coming back to what I was talking about in terms of blur or this depth of field here in this scene especially, look at that scenic landscape, you could say. There's so much more blur on the Xbox Series S. I guess it's to compensate for what's happening on screen and to deliver that performance on the Xbox Series S. So scenes where you have a lot going on in the background, I think they've kind of blurred. Even this year, look at that vegetation in the background, those trees in the background. The PC version, everything looks crisp, everything looks sharp. But sometimes that motion blur or that that depth of field kind of makes the Xbox Series S, in fact, really stand out and look, in fact, better in some places. A little fun fact: my 8-year-old, while I was playing this footage, he came onto my TV and he kind of chose the Xbox Series S version over the PC version. That was his preference. He's 8-year-old and he's very active when it comes to gaming, and he liked the Series S version more than the PC version. Obviously, if you take a look at the finer details, especially the texture, it's only the texture which actually pops out on the PC. And I know it's an obvious thing. A far more powerful machine. Everything pops out, from the hay that you see on the ground to the trees, to the grass, even to the quality of fiber or the clothing on Altair's, you could say, costume, or even the soldiers that are in the background. Everything looks so much sharper on the PC. But apart from that, you take that texture quality away. I think apart from the texture quality, for that $300, you are getting your money's worth with the Xbox Series S. And hey, I mean, I understand that while I'm uploading this on YouTube, you will only be able to experience this in 60 FPS because it can't go beyond 60 FPS on YouTube. The other thing that you get with a PC is obviously the higher frame rate. So on the Xbox Series S, although with the FPS boost, you do have, 60 FPS. Well, hey, on the PC, I was hitting like 120 FPS on this game with high settings, with the 4K that I was playing this on. I was still getting, say, about between 110 to 120 FPS on my PC, and that's incredible. So if you are personally kind of playing this, especially on a monitor which can do like 144 Hertz, you will be able to make out that difference. You definitely will be able to. All right. But if you're watching a video like this, even if I play this side by side because of the limitation of YouTube, you guys tell me, I mean, what do you think? How do you think the Xbox Series S is performing? According to me, the difference is not 5 times more or 6 times more on the PC. It's definitely not. The Xbox Series S, well, hey, it gives me a solid Full HD, means I can run this game on 1080p with 60 FPS. So the PC, on the other hand, yes, okay, I'm doing this on the PC at, say, about 4K, and it's definitely giving me twice the frame rate, close to 120 FPS. But hey, if you look at the price of the PC, then my laptop, the Asus ROG Strix G15, the Advantage Edition, let me give you the kind of configuration on that as well. It's got the AMD Ryzen 9 processor, the 5900 HX. Yeah, I think it was HX. I keep getting confused between HX and HS. And then it's also got a 12 GB graphic card, the RX 6800. So it's not a bad machine if you look at it. And even from the price perspective, in India, I mean, I paid quite a lot for this laptop because I paid close to $1,900 for it in India. So that's quite a lot. So I'm comparing a machine which is $1,900 to $300. That's the point of this video, as to how good the Xbox Series S is from the price to value ratio. I even made a video a few weeks back, kind of claiming that you don't really need an expensive gaming laptop. Hey, why did I buy a gaming laptop? Well, I make gaming content on my channel, so it only made sense for me to kind of, buy a laptop to even have comparisons like this done for you lovely people. But with that said, again, let me tell you that the Xbox Series S performs beautifully. And from the price to value ratio, you are getting so much from this tiny little beast of a console. And that's exactly what I wanted to show in this video. Hopefully I've been able to achieve that, and hope you like the content. Hey, by the way, if you have not played any of the Assassin's Creed games, what are you doing? You should immediately pick one up. I think the Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a great game to start with because it's kind of like the first in the series, even before this game, in the chronological order, if you play those games, that is. So from that perspective, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is fantastic. In fact, it's my favorite game in this franchise. Now with that said, we come to the end of this video. Do let me know your thoughts, your comments in the comment section, and I would appreciate that like and subscribe button. If you could hit that, it'd be great. Now with that said, it's a wrap for this one, and I'll see you lovely folks in my next video. Until that time, I'll say happy gaming, stay safe, take care, and hey, may God bless you all.